is looking dangerous for Bitcoin, but I don't even think this is going to be the most dangerous looking chart. I think this here is the most important chart for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is right now breaking down the parabolica on the daily time frame. And that's going to be something very important to be discussing this update video. We will not discuss only that, we will take a deep dive into much more Bitcoin charts, the latest news hitting the markets here, and we'll also take a deep dive into Ethereum, of course. So from there, guys, make sure to first of all subscribe to the channel and watch like my latest YouTube videos, and then we can dive into the most important content. Bitcoin is breaking down just before we have a big week ahead here. So this is going to be a very important update video, because Bitcoin is showing some scary charts basically. But I do think this is going to be your most important chart, and that is Bitcoin breaking down the parabolica of this bull market, basically showing us that yes, a bigger correction could be likelier. But on the other hand, I must say that we have seen fake outs and massive wicks before in this parabolic uptrend. So this could also still be another major trap. The same can be said for this rising wedge. This doesn't have to play out all the way to the downside. But if we zoom in a little bit on Bitcoin, I must say that yes, this top is looking quite similar with the top we have seen before. Bitcoin is currently also losing this uptrending support line, which we have been talking about a lot on the channel, and then this is going to be your next resistance level, which is basically that $112,000 level. Bitcoin is basically ranging now, you can clearly see that. So also in that range, that $112,000 is going to be our next support. If Bitcoin is going to break below that, yes, I do think we are in for quite a significant correction, because then you're looking in towards much lower support targets. If Bitcoin is going to bounce from exactly that zone, we are just ranging, and that could be still quite bullish for Ethereum and altcoins. Because if you are going to be realistic, it could be that Bitcoin already topped for this cycle. If you take a look into for example, where we are currently in this cycle, and that from now on Ethereum and altcoins will start outperforming even more, because that is what tends to happen each 4-year cycle. At the ending stage, Bitcoin is going to consolidate and Ethereum and altcoins will start outperforming, and the Bitcoin consolidation is giving Ethereum and altcoins some space to do so. So that could also be the case, but I do also think that yes, for Bitcoin there could still be another big wave to the top side in place in Q4. I do still think that is going to be possible, that's highly likely, but it is going to be an important phase moment in the market, because if Bitcoin is just going to push further to the downside here and you are going to lose, for example, this parabolic uptrend, this rising wedge is going to play out, and you can't hold in, for example, this range, yeah, then things are starting to look a little bit more bearish, but we currently don't know this yet. If Bitcoin is going to bounce on that $112,000 target, I'm not worrying too much, to be fair. If you're going to break further below it, then Bitcoin is definitely going to enter a new downtrend, and yeah, then we have to see where things are about to go. Bitcoin did scrap a lot of the liquidity at the downside here, so there isn't too much reason to be moving much lower, but of course this can change quite quickly also. For Ethereum, there's still more liquidity at the downside, and then that $41,000 level is going to be an important one, because there is a lot of liquidity stacking up, and that is on the full liquidation heat map going to be the biggest level of liquidity. And we do know that markets tend to move to the places where the most liquidity is laying. So definitely, if this bearish momentum for Bitcoin is going to continue here, I see Ethereum grabbing this downside liquidity before heading higher. It doesn't have to happen, but I don't think that's going to be realistic scenario, just looking at what's happening with the markets now. But basically the level you can see on that heat map here is the top side of this reaccumulation range. So from there a bounce is going to be highly likely, because this was super strong resistance, and probably it will turn in towards big support if you are truly going to touch those levels. So that's why a lot of liquidity is stacking up at that place for Ethereum currently. I do still have a higher target in mind, and of course it could be that, just like we saw earlier in this Ethereum move, that you for example low down, take out the downside liquidity, and then see this big move to the top side. Things like that do tend to happen a lot of times, shaking out the weekends, shaking out the bears in the spirit of the market, and then moving higher, because I do think Ethereum could be likely to hit new all-time highs this cycle. If you just take a look towards all the facts, on-chain data, the seasonality, there's still time for Ethereum to definitely make new all-time highs, and from there move even higher towards my bull case, that $6,000 target. Of course, I did take some profits at that conservative case target. I have been extensively talking about that, so I don't want to repeat myself every single time, but here I did take some profits, and now I'm just riding some Ethereum to the top side here towards this bull case. If we are going to hit that $41,000 level, I could be getting interested in opening a long position there for it. So yeah, let's keep an eye on that. Also, don't want to miss out on any opportunities here. If Ethereum is just going to move towards those new all-time highs, then we are going to liquidate a lot of shorts, over $8 billion in short liquidity. And also on this chart, we can see that big institutions are heavily shorting Ethereum still. And this has been ongoing for a while, even before Ethereum started this massive move to the top side. So a lot of these institutions must be in a big loss now. I don't think this is going to be fuel for Ethereum to the top side. I was discussing Bitcoin and the stage of the cycle we are currently in, and seeing the scenario that Bitcoin might even has stopped already here and is just going to start ranging in. We can also see that on this chart for altcoins, because I just took the Bitcoin halving cycle profit chart, which shows us exactly where we are in this cycle after the Bitcoin halving basically. And this is going to be the period where normally altcoins do tend to go the most parabolic, but for Bitcoin that doesn't have to be the case. Bitcoin did top out earlier in all these cycles, but always for altcoins in that true ending stage of the cycle, you do tend to see the most parabolic gains. So if history is going to repeat for altcoins, it's still looking quite good here. So I don't think we have to panic too much here, because yeah, we haven't seen that altcoin season yet, and I do believe it's still going to come, maybe a shorter altcoin season than we know of from previous cycles, but we are definitely going to see more upside for altcoins. I'm quite sure of that. The altcoin season index is currently hitting 51, so no altcoin season yet. But guys, just like I stated with this chart, I do think that altcoin season is still coming, and patience is going to be key now. Definitely once Bitcoin is going to start performing a little bit more bearish, once the weak hands are getting shaken out of the market, and basically it's just a range Bitcoin is trading in. So not too much to be panicking about. And guys, that was it for today's update video. I hope you guys enjoyed this update video, and I'll see you guys within the next update video tomorrow.
Are you looking for exchange with zero fees over 3,000 plus trading pair with industrial leading liquidity proof of reserve that has 1:1 ratio with 24/7 online customer service support? Scan the QR code to easy to direct MEXC website and start your first trading. Thank you.
Trading is never as easy. But who say you can't have fun? In every minute you lend, the more you will enjoy. As you grow up in this industry, you will find yourself, and so round yourself with people who will help you to grow up as trader. It's hard in the first place, but I am sure you will be successful. As a trader, always remember trend is your friend.